Hello, my name is Benjamin Gottwald. I'm an illustrator from Hamburg, Germany, and I would like to show you my comic adaptation of Friedrich Dürrenmatt's The Physicists, which is very hard to pronounce for me, so I will use in this video the German title Die Physiker. I'm very happy to present my work in collaboration with the Consulate General of Switzerland in Vancouver. First of all, I would like to give you a short introduction to Friedrich Dürrenmatt and his work. Maybe you don't know him, but he's very famous in German-speaking countries, so we all had to read his plays in high school. Dürrenmatt was born in 1921, though this year it would have been his 100th birthday. He was a Swiss author and dramatist, and his plays reflected the recent experience of World War II, for which Die Physiker is the most important example. For a theater play, I think it's very kind of nice. The light turns dark and bam, we start in the room. But for a comic book, I thought it would be better if we start with the inspector who's driving towards the sanatorium. When I first read the play, I immediately thought, oh, okay, this is one room. How would I draw it? And how do I keep drawing it for the whole comic book without getting bored and without boring the reader? So this is where we first enter the room and see the room. It's a bit messy because of the murder, which appears to happen in the middle of the room. But there's also these three doors and the window. And these elements will not change the entire book. Now I will give you an example of how I transformed the room. On the left side, the first panel, you can see two people, and this one and this one. They're actually in the room, standing in the room. But what I did, I drew a picture of the room like a frame. So they're talking about the room while standing in it. And this is a longer passage about the inspector and Mathilde von Zandt. She's the head of the sanatorium. And you see the room and also the doors which I introduced to you. I now change the complete room, but I do not change that basic architecture. In this panel, the two are discussing that the sanatorium is not a prison, and I adopted it to the drawing to make it feel like a prison. So basically, I just adopted what they say to the room, that the room is acting to what the two are saying. So here they are discussing more about the murder, and Mathilde von Zandt thought that it has to do about radioactivity, so I drew a radioactive room. In this panel, the two were talking about the guy next door in room 3, so I made him visible. Same on this side here. So you get an idea of how the room works. Let me now show you an example how simple I can draw the room. Though in these panels I reduced the room to the 4 basic elements, like the first door, the second door, the third door and the window. In my opinion, you're still in the room. You can read it very good. In these 2 panels, I made a little joke to show the audience. It's a theater play, so I thought it would be fun to open up the room and show some funny people sitting there looking at my comic book while in a comic book. This is Möbius. In this play, he discovered the world formula, and this is why he is in the sanatorium, to hide it from the world. In this scene, I used a window to illustrate what he has found out. Möbius' point is that if the formula would be discovered from the outside world, outside the sanatorium world, People would use it for like building bombs. This is the last scene of the play. In the play, everything has a twist. The three physicists celebrate that they're locked up in this room, but they are free. They freed the world from the invention of Möbius, which could eventually kill humankind. But they made the party without the head of the sanatorium, Mathilde von Zandt, who is the craziest in this play. She tricked the three physicists. So I drew Mathilde von Zandt as a puppeteer and the three physicists as the puppets in the room. With the realization that the craziest person, Mathilde von Zandt, has her hands on the word formula, the room turns darker and darker. It shows how the three physicists in the end are locked in this room. It turns to a black square. And in the end, everything around the black square is exploding. In Die Physiker, you have to deal with many characters. You have the inspector, you have three nurses, three physicists. You have a family who are combined 5 people. You have Mathilde von Zandt, the head of the sanatorium. And you have 3 inspectors who investigate the crime scenes. So now I show you 2 examples of characters and how they appear in the graphic novel. First, this is Newton. Newton is one of the physicists. So basically he's made up of squares and a bow tie. In this passage he starts a monologue. So everything he monologues about is constructed as a bow tie, like this goat, for example, which is one of my favorite panels. The second example is my favorite character. It's the family. It's the family of Möbius, his wife, his 3 children, and, to his surprise, the new husband of his wife. They come to say goodbye because they will leave the country and live on an island. To show the unity of the family, I drew them as a unit, so that Möbius also looks very lonely and separate. As goodbye, the kids are playing a nice song on the flute. But Möbius is very upset about this song. He gets very angry and screams them away to the island, and their unity and self-satisfaction cracks. So this was just a short introduction of my comic adaptation of Friedrich Dürrenmatt's Die Physiker. As a comic artist, I had the challenge to be the director, the set designer, the costume designer, and I played all the characters. It was a fun and playful experience for me, also because Die Physiker is actually really funny. Give it a try.